Hey, it's me, the guy that used to wear a shirt to pool parties in middle school due to the fact that he was embarrassed about showing people his full B cup that he had while simultaneously making the girls that hadn't fully developed yet feel somewhat jealous. Um, the kid that took choir in middle school for the sheer girl to guy ratio, thinking to himself, surely at least one of these girls had a crush on the chubby redheaded kid from The Sandlot.
Hey girls.
Was he ever on the cover of Teen Beat? I don't think so. So, those stories, along with other ones that I'll mention during this video, are the reasons why I wanted to make this video, because there's just been funny memories that have happened, and I'm someone that likes to reminisce and kind of remember the details. Going back to it, the girl to guy ratio isn't the number one reason why I took choir. I would probably say the number one reason was that I heard it was an easy class. And with me being a boy in middle school, going through puberty and my voice changing, I was essentially a mute that was taking a Spanish class and thinking to myself, there's necessarily not too much this class can ask of me. An easy aid to help pull up the nosedive of what my GPA was doing back then is something that I needed.
Okay, folks, show's over. Nothing to see here. Show's. Oh my god! A horrible plane crash!
An easy A. And also, I heard that you got to go on trips while you were in choir in middle school, which sounded really cool to me to go on a field trip. For some kid that didn't go on many vacations with his family growing up, I was like, hold on, there's a life outside this bunker. But it was that was kind of enticing. That was pretty enticing for sure. I think it's funny, like when you go away as a kid, you kind of get these like romantic storylines that get brought up in your head. Sometimes they play out, sometimes they don't. Also, another reason why I feel like I kind of joined was I feel like I had some like Disney Channel movie idea of me being discovered to be a good singer by my choir teacher as she like rounded the corner as I was sweeping up something in the cafeteria wearing headphones. As I sang along to a song, she hears me as she rounds the corner, and then I don't see her out of the corner of my eye. She quickly turns back around the corner, clutches the invisible pearls around her neck, and goes, "He has the voice of an angel." Um, and then to go forward from there every day afterwards throughout the year to try to entice me to be more proactive about my singing career, but me being so anti-establishment by being like, no, that's not cool, which was a personality I never really had. But and also it was quite the opposite. Again, going back to my voice changing, anytime I did try to sing, my choir teacher would come over to me and be like, "There's something off in this area. There's something off in this area." And then I would go back to lip syncing, and she would go, "Oh, it's getting better. It's good now." And I'd be like, "Okay, that's the last time I tried this semester. I'll be back next one though." So that was kind of funny. That was kind of funny. This one's more recent, but it has to do more so with the girl to guy ratio. But this is more so of a one-on-one type situation. Is that I go to a coffee shop by my house to read my Bible. I can't do it at home. There's too many kind of mental barriers at home for me. So yeah, I go to a coffee shop by my house. I go to like a couple of them, but I would say one mainly. And I would say maybe about like a month ago, I saw this girl. There quite a few times. I just kept on going during the weekends, and I kept on seeing her. She's cute. She's a very cute girl, and I said to myself in my head, I was like, oh, if I see her one more time, I'm going to stop her and just say hi, introduce myself, and whatnot. And I noticed that she was like always reading with someone that was like a little bit older than her. And I thought to myself, I was like, is that like her work friend? I'm not sure. But, anyways, like I go to coffee shops and read, and so does she. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And in and of itself, I thought it was cool. So, yeah, I see her the next time she's leaving, and I stop her and I go, hey, excuse me. I just wanted to say I see here sometimes reading with someone, and I just wanted to let you know I think that's pretty cool. And she's like, "Oh yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, that's my mom." And I was like, "Oh, okay, very cool, very cool." And inside of my head, I was like, "I'm so glad I didn't come up and introduce myself with your mom." I feel like that would just be so interesting. Yeah, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that's really cool." And yeah, my name's Dean. She's like, "Oh yeah, this is my name." And I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to say hi and hope you have a good rest of your day." She's like, "Oh yeah, thanks." And she left. So I was like, "Cool." And then after that, I didn't see her for a while, and not that the main reason for me to go out is to see anyone in particular, but the reason for me to go out is to read and what have you. But on an Easter, I went to that coffee shop and it was pretty slow, which I thought to myself, of course, people are doing stuff with their family. And I was reading and I'm just like looking around the coffee shop and I see her walk in through the door. This place isn't too big, and I see her walk in and she doesn't like notice me, and I go, "Oh, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna look back down at my Bible." And as soon as I put my head down, I hear, "Oh, hey." And I look up and it's her, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" I ask her how her Easter's been. She asked me how mine was, and just had a short, nice conversation. I make a joke about Easter and going out to restaurants and how everyone goes to church and it's like, "Oh yeah, like God and all these things," and then they go to a restaurant afterwards with their family and they go like, there's like a parent saying to the waitress, "Where's my Diet Coke? I need it." So that's a little joke I made, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's funny." And she was like, "Oh yeah, remind me of your name." And I was like, "Oh, my name's Dean." And I was like, "Remind me of yours again." And she told me hers. And I was like, "Well, hey, don't let me keep you from grabbing your coffee, but it was really good to see you." So after that, yeah, she grabbed her drink and she left. And then I haven't seen her for a while. It makes me kind of think back to that moment. And I probably should have asked if she wanted to grab coffee sometime. But yeah, she's a cutie for sure. She's a cutie for sure. Another funny thing that happens while I'm out at coffee shops that I kind of mention on my Instagram sometimes is, and this is kind of strange, is that over the past 2 years, I've gone to coffee shops and just read my Bible, trying to have a close relationship with God. And it's so interesting over the course of that time, people come up to me and they start off this conversation by saying, "Oh, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. I've challenged myself to introduce myself to 3 new people each week. Yeah, my name's this." And initially I was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on? My name's Dane." And they kind of make like really crappy small talk. And then at the end, they go, "Oh, well, I could get your number and, you know, um, I'm part of a church and I can get your number and I could text you about stuff that we're doing." And the first time I even felt like it was like strange. And I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm good. But thanks for coming up." After a while, it was just like strange because they kind of kept on using the same script. And like even the second time I was like, "Whoa, this is weird. Like there has to be something going on." And like I think even one of the times I called out someone, like maybe the fourth or fifth time, and I was like, "Dude, I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know if it's like directly in line with the church or if you're using it for like some other means, but if it is for some other means, I'm just going to ask you to reflect on, you know, your reason of doing this cuz that's not good." So it just makes me feel weird. The next time it happens, I'm just going to ask like the guy, usually it's guys. I'm just going to ask him, I'm gonna be like, "Hey man, give me the info of the church that you go to. I'm going to do some deep diving. I'm going to go full Inspector Gadget on them."
Oh no!
Ba-da-da-da-dun-dun-dun. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to join any cult or MLM. I'm not trying to get any matching tracksuits, drink any strawberry Kool-Aid. My favorite flavor is grape, anyways. I can't keep up with any membership fees. I don't even have any streaming services. The dedication just isn't there. I'd feel obligated, stressed out about that, make up excuses. But yeah, just strange what goes on there for sure. Like in those conversations. But yeah, an interesting time. Let's see here. This next story has to do with religion as well. We're going back to even younger than me being in middle school. Is that when I was in, yeah, like elementary school, probably like later elementary school, I remember going to church with my mom and my grandparents. I think this was after my parents divorced. Sometimes my sister and brother would be there. I don't think they were there this time. But I would go to this one church with my mom and my grandparents. And I remember my mom used to ask me when we would go to this church, she would ask me sometimes, "Oh, do you want to stay with us adults or do you want to go with kids?" And I remember being so in my head, being asked decisions and just in general being in my head about things. And my mom asked me that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, I'll stay with you guys." So I stay with them. It's in like this big old tent that looks like, honestly, a tap dancing class is coming in at like 3 p.m. and we needed to hurry out of there afterwards. But Christians, by the way, Christian big white tent sounds like it could be a part of Scientology. So yeah, listen to the sermon as a kid. You don't know anything, and I'm just listening to the sermon. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like this is seeming like forever. And towards the end, I swear this place would do offering at the end. And so they did the offering, and my grandpa took out his wallet and then took $5 out and then gave it to me. And he said, "Oh yeah, that's for the offering plate when it comes around." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't know what that meant. And I was there holding this $5 and I was like, I'm not sure what the offering means. Is that something later on? Is that, I'm not sure. And I swear this place only had like one offering plate, and we're all just sitting there. I'm like, okay, everyone's kind of quiet. Okay. And so I'm just there holding the $5 and I think to myself, okay, well, and I just put the $5 and shove it in my pocket. And then sometime after that, the offering plate comes around and I go, oh, this is what that's for. And I think to myself, well, there's no way that I'm going to be pulling that $5 out of the depths of my pocket that I shoved it to. Oh, here you go, Grandpa. And I remember maybe there just being kind of like a interesting silence in the air, looking back at that time, of my grandpa being like, okay, that was interesting. But a funny moment to tag on to that story, my last job that I had, I told my manager that exact story and he thought it was really funny. And one of my coworkers went walking by and he was like, "Oh, dude, what's funny, you guys?" And my manager was like, "Oh, yeah, Dean just told me a story about when he was younger. He stole from the collection plate." And I was like, dude, that is not the story. That's not the full story. So a funny game of telephone right there. I think I might try to sneak in one more story. We're going back to middle school. Flash forward, but still flashing back, is that when I was in sixth grade, I had a big crush on a girl. That was in my grade. And it was our first school dance. I remember being really nervous. I think I was nervous enough for all of us sixth grade boys. And it happened after school, throughout the night. You know, throughout the night, we're just like all goofing around. And, some slow songs would come on. And throughout the whole entire night, like, I'm too afraid to go up to her and ask her to dance. And the night starts to wind down, and the DJ says this classic line. He goes, "This is going to be the last slow song. Grab that special somebody." And I think to myself, oh, shoot. So I find this girl I had a crush on, and I walk up to her, and I tap her on the shoulder, and she turns around. I ask her to dance, and she says, "Sure." And I go, "Well, I didn't expect that answer." And so she proceeds to put her hands on my shoulders, and then I proceed to put my hands on her shoulders. And we basically do the Frankenstein for what seems like 20 minutes of my life, while my hands are sweating more than they ever have in my whole entire life. And in actuality, that time was probably only like a minute and a half because I was too scared to ask her at the beginning of the song and waited about halfway through. But we were there just doing the Frankenstein, and my hands were sweating so much, and I was like, oh my gosh, when I lift my hands, there's going to be like a distinct outline of my hands on the shoulders of her dress. And I was like, gosh, I hope this blends in with the pattern of her dress that she has on. A very Mentos commercial type mentality I had in that moment. But if you don't know,
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you, staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better, Mentos fresh days. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
now you know. But yeah, just some funny stories. Some funny stories that I just wanted to make a video about. If you watch this, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it. Kind of a silly way to spend your time. But anyways, see ya.